From the soundstage of the digital media classroom here at Wellington High School, welcome to another episode of Dialogue with the Dukes. This morning's show is being brought to you by the Patricia Lindley Center for the Performing Arts, located in the McCormick Middle School, adjacent to Wellington High School, and also by the Wellington Music Store, located at 117 West Herrick here in downtown Wellington. Our students helping this morning are Kevin Rakowski and Connor Bright. This morning we are going to continue our series with how the Wellington School District and the community produce successful American citizens. And with that, this morning we are going to be interviewing with Morgan Parsons. Morgan, welcome this morning. He is, I guess the best way to describe it is that he is an aspiring actor. He graduated from Wellington High School in 2014 and went on to college at Ohio University. One of the things that we want to talk about having to do with Morgan and his time here at Wellington High School were the extracurricular activities that you were involved in that, shall we say, somewhat shaped your future.
Yeah.
Talk about all of the extracurricular activities you were in.
Yeah, so...
talk about all of the extracurricular activities you were in.
Yeah, so I was in... I think one of the first ones I was in was the Key Club, which I believe is still run by Mrs. Traps. That certainly helped with my sense of community, my sense of wanting to contribute in some way to.
For the people who don't know, what is Key Club?
Key Club is the high school level of the Kiwanis organization.
Okay.
So just a bunch of maybe not exactly community outreach, but a lot of like volunteer work, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely affected and got me used to doing volunteer work and doing just getting a sense for giving back to the communities that support me in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I was also on the academic challenge team for 2 years, I think, run by Mr. Rose Kelly, which was, of course, fun and supported my interests in different scientific studies and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, drama club as well, which kind of had the most sway over where I ended up going.
Sure.
I was in, let me think, I was in 2 WHS productions. I played Merriman, a minor role in Reports of Being Earnest, and then played Linus in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, excuse me. And then in addition to that, I did a lot of offstage stagehand work for a number of productions, mostly the different productions of what's it called? A Wonderful Life.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Which we are going to be producing again this year.
Of course you are.
Of course. Well, one of the teachers I know that you talked to me about, Mrs. Emily Campo-Fredano, or Mrs. Campo to all the students, she had a big influence on you.
Absolutely. And Mrs. Campo, more than anything else, a lot of us in the club were very, very close and very affected by her presence within the club.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly I think Mrs. Campo has helped shape my approach to, my later approach to theater work, mostly in how to interact with other people in the world of theater.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you have the whole stereotype of the diva actor and that sort of thing. And I've always found that focusing more just on interpersonal connectedness and just kindness, that she always really exemplified has gotten me much farther than any like posturing uh, or egotistical, that sort of thing ever really could. But yeah.
Well, after you graduated from Wellington in 2014, you went on to Ohio University, and you started out in engineering.
I did.
Which we'll talk about a little bit later after the break. But you started out in engineering, but then graduated, or shall I say, not graduated, but went on to working more within the theater aspect and plays. Tell us about the degree that you graduated in, and also how you worked with the students and so on.
Yeah. So I ended up switching halfway through my freshman year from West College of Engineering to the School of Theater, and got into the acting studio, which is a 3-year program that starts up after your freshman year. And I've already forgotten your question.
Well, I mean, that, and you also work with students.
Yes, yeah, I've worked with in addition to doing theater work through the school, I've also worked with a number of students from the School of Film on their different school projects. I was part of, I've been a part of a couple of different, some thesis work, as well as just smaller school projects, black and white production.
Just what was the degree that you actually graduated from Ohio U from?
The actual degree is a bachelor's in fine arts in acting.
Okay.
So yeah, like I said, 3-year degree, part of a 20-person acting studio that all went through the same classes over those 3 years, and did a variety of both different acting techniques as well as movement and voice and speech work.
Okay. Well, when we come back after this commercial, we're going to delve more into his actual acting and so on. And we'll actually talk a little bit about the fact that he started out in engineering and decided halfway through, well, not even halfway through, a quarter of the way through, his time there at Ohio U, and how that has evolved and, shall we say, shaped how or what you've become today. We'll be back after this message. This is Dialogue with the Dukes. Welcome back. If you or your organization are interested in providing or having a venue to provide for something that you would like to have widely disseminated throughout the village, consider going to the Patricia Lindley Center for the Performing Arts, located, as I said, in the McCormick Middle School, adjacent to Wellington High School. During the first portion of this interview, we talked a little bit with Morgan about his experiences here in high school and also in college, and now I want to delve more into what he's actually been doing since you graduated from Ohio U. First of all, we talked about the fact that you graduated from Wellington High School and got, as it turned out, a really big scholarship to go to engineering school, but you decided that wasn't really what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
If you could explain about that.
Yeah, so I did, as we said before, I was initially enrolled in the Russ College of Engineering and was there on a... so I did, as we said before, I was initially enrolled in the Russ College of Engineering and was there on a, I believe, $25,000 Rush Vision scholarship. But partway through the first semester of freshman year, I just realized I was actually at a what's the word? A career fair, job fair that was sponsored by the Ruffs College. That was showing a bunch of different, stands with jobs from different companies for people with mechanical engineering degrees, and I realized as I had been walking around at that fair that I didn't want to do any of those things. and that when I closed my eyes and asked myself what I saw myself doing for the rest of my life, the answer was theater, and
Sure.
had been theater for a while, and it wasn't even really that mechanical engineering was difficult for me. It just wasn't. I didn't actually find that it was fulfilling me in
Sure.
the way that I needed it to be.
Well, I might add the fact that both your parents are medical professionals,
Yeah.
and your mom actually works here in the Wellington School District.
Yeah.
They were initially pushing you towards the engineering thing, but when you went into active, they have become very supportive of you.
They've been very supportive throughout the entire process. A little bit less than thrilled about not having the huge scholarship anymore, but they never at any point tried to dissuade me from doing what was going to make me happy in the long run.
Sure. So you went into acting and got the bachelor's degree in fine arts. Now, what actually, even maybe going back to high school, what actually was maybe one or two things that actually piqued your interest in acting itself?
Yeah, the first thing that piqued my interest, fitting enough, was a Wellington High School production of The Drowsy Chaperone, which I attended on a leadership retreat here. And just watching that, and both the particular, I don't know, kind of ethereal nature of that show, particularly that show has a very specific beauty to it, and as well as just watching all of the actors on stage and seeing how much fun they were having.
Oh, sure.
Just led me feeling just drawn to it, and so I auditioned the next semester.
Well, and obviously then it's kind of, the situation kind of evolved from a situation of something that's fun to, hey, I want to do this as a vocation.
Yeah, that's and it's interesting. In some of the professional work that I've done, I've had you sometimes do meet and greets with the audience, or after show, just saying hello to them, and I've gotten the question a lot of, did you have fun? And at a certain point, and of course there's still a lot that is fun, but at a certain point it stops being about that. Because a lot of the time it's not. And a lot of the time it is very, very not fun. You're doing like setting up stage lighting, where the focus is more, less on the actual scene work and more on like just setting up the lighting for the stage. So you can be just like running the scenes very fast, but it's very like stop and go. You'll start to get into it and then cut, and they're adjusting lights, and it's just a very several hours long process. And there's a lot of stuff like that. Film work, a lot of it, a lot more of it is just standing around and waiting, or sitting around and waiting, than it is actually being in the camera. That's to say nothing of stage combat and even stage firearm stuff, which is very stressful and oftentimes gets kind of dangerous. But I came to the realization that it's no longer. I no longer do it because it's fun. I do it because it's fulfilling. It is not always fun, but it is always fulfilling. Yeah,
that's a good way to put it. Well, let's bring it up to present day, if we could.
Sure thing.
Where do you live, and what are you involved in right now?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm still living just outside Wellington, literally across from the Keystone District. And I've been, before this, trying to think, last October, almost a year from now, or a year ago, sorry, I moved to Chicago after saving up for months and months, and was able to stay there for 7 months, and got in very good with a couple of a couple of different job agencies, managed to do some auditioning, and very importantly, got a really good sense for how the layout and just how life in that city works. Unfortunately, my housing situation kind of fell apart. I got to the end of my sublease and had been unable to look for other housing situations because of a couple of other complications in my life at the time, and ended up having to come back home, which of course has been a mixed bag. You know, in some ways it's been nice to be home again. In a lot of other ways, I very, very dearly miss being in Chicago. But I've been, working and saving up, and intend to. We'll be flying back out there this coming Monday. So yeah, I'll be setting up shop in Chicago within next week or so, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Well, one of the things that we like to do when we do this particular series is we like to speak specifically to the Wellington High School students, and in that vein, what advice would you give to any Wellington student who is thinking about becoming an aspiring actor or going into the acting field or anything having to do with theater?
Yeah, I've thought a lot about this just in general. And I think the biggest piece of advice, something I've seen a lot in the theater industry, and it happens in America in general, but there's this glorification of self-sacrifice, this glorification of putting your work, putting all of this, all of professional stuff ahead of self-care and ahead of that sort of thing. And it's especially prevalent in theater. And it's just not good. I've been in a number of situations where it's gone way too far. And the main thing that I would say to Wellington kids today looking to get into theater is everybody wants to put on a good show. That should always be a secondary priority to your mental, physical, and emotional health. And
that's a good point.
Yeah, and I'll also say you'll already know the difference between getting out of your comfort zone and doing something that's unsafe.
Sure.
You already know that. You just have to learn to listen to yourself.
How to actually do that. Well, once again, we'd like to thank Morgan Parsons, an aspiring actor who graduated from Wellington High School and went on, for coming in this morning and talking to us about some of the things that he was involved in, both in high school and college, and then what he's actually doing now. We'll be back again next week with another episode of Dialogue with the Dukes.
Cut.